Welcome, the Gamer Man's Lounge. Awaken to play.
Hopefully things are going well for you guys. As for me, let's go ahead and talk about them fighting games. That's right. Let's go ahead and talk more about it. Now, fighting games are essentially it's like a big epitome of one-on-one video game duels, and when it comes to fighting games as a genre, it is the number one go-to genre when it comes to 1v1. However, Street Fighter 2 came in, brought it to a new light, hence why we have seen the fighting game genre expanded to this very day. However, if it weren't for Street Fighter 2, fighting games would be more and more and more of a niche genre. But let's keep right on going. The genre would go to gain a series of pro video game tournaments, especially EVO. And of course, this was the result of the fighting game genre expanding heavily as the FGC, the fighting game community, grows strong as ever. And of course, there were some titles that were pretty much helping the fighting game genre transcend through time, from past to present. So I want to go through 5 of these games that pretty much did things in great detail and out of the box, or pretty much both. So with that totally said, this is a list dedicated to the games that have helped the genre, of course, kept going and growing as it is today. So this is insert YouTube channel name here, and here we fucking go. The top 5 defining fighting games. Number 5 on our list, we got Soul Calibur 2, and boy oh boy, I have fond memories of Soul Calibur 2. And I've ended up renting and playing Soul Calibur 2 on every single console ever. Like, I know the PlayStation version has you getting Heihachi as a guest character. If you head on over to the Xbox, your guest character is Spawn. But if you head on over to the Nintendo GameCube, we're probably know for a fact that you can play as Link in Soul Calibur 2. Hell, players have had a blast playing as Link if that person is a Zelda fan. So if you're like a fan of Zelda and you own the GameCube version, you went to town with Link. Let's be honest. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those guest characters are what keeps adding in the new people to the Soul Calibur franchise. Another thing that's kind of weird. Soul Calibur 3 didn't even have a guest character, the hell? But, however, with that said, speaking of guest characters, and now that we're on this thing with the guest characters, Soul Calibur 2 was basically what kind of started the trend in the franchise by adding in guest characters from left and right. Like, you saw Soul Calibur 2 getting you Heihachi, Spawn, and Link, and then you see Soul Calibur 4 with Darth Vader and Yoda. I get that it involves melee because lightsabers and all, but how do these two fit into the Soul Calibur? Especially Yoda. Like, why the fuck would you add Yoda to the roster because of his... You gotta think about his height. And then Soul Calibur 5, someone from Assassin's Creed, and then Soul Calibur 6, Geralt of Rivia, and then through DLC, Haomaru and 2B from Nier Automata. Okay, to be fair... I know Nier Automata is futuristic, but like Nier Automata is kind of like a more of a futuristic / fantasy setting, so that works. But Star Wars is just straight up sci-fi. Soul Calibur 2 also brought the Soul Calibur franchise to multiple consoles. And to be fair, Soul Calibur 2 was put on multiple consoles such as PlayStation, Xbox, and GameCube. Actually, as a matter of fact. I need to start getting more specific. PlayStation 2, Xbox Classic, and GameCube. And then Soul Calibur 3 was PlayStation 2 exclusive, but Soul Calibur 4 was like PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. Same story for Soul Calibur 5, and then Soul Calibur 6. Here you go. PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Soul Calibur 2 adds in walls to some of its newly built arenas, improves the beautiful orchestrated soundtrack, and of course adds in new additional characters, such as, for example, Cassandra, who is essentially the sister to Sophitia. I think I should have stated better that Cassandra is Sophitia's sister, rather than, Cassandra is the sister to Sophitia. I think that's more better if I go with it that way. But however, you do get your traditional modes, your arcade, your versus mode, your practice mode. However, alongside the extra versions of those modes, you get alongside a more interesting, let's just say, adventure mode with RPG elements from left and right, and of course the ability through that adventure mode of getting a hold of hidden costumes and getting a hold of hidden characters that way. Like I said, add in the improved graphics, the improved designs, and of course the improved music that pretty much tops over the first game, and of course the expansion to multiple costumes, and of course the inclusion of guest characters, and of course more replayability from left and right. Soul Calibur 2 is a hell of a cult classic, and pretty much it's a hell of a cult classic sequel to pretty much a cult classic franchise. We're going to be moving on to number 4, which is Dead or Alive 2. Now, Dead or Alive 2 has been pretty much a groundbreaking evolvement. Like, when it came to Dead or Alive 2, the series evolved, alongside carrying over its traditional chaotic gameplay, and of course the fan service brought to you by the attractive female characters of the franchise, and of course the more improved soundtracks that just come out completely as badass than ever. However, Dead or Alive 2 would get its first release on arcades before getting a home version with, of course, regional differences for the Dreamcast version. However, that was until Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore came out as the biggest Dead or Alive 2 to end all Dead or Alive 2s. So with that totally said, Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore for the PlayStation 2. And then, however, you fast forward later to after Dead or Alive 3 and then Extreme Beach Volleyball, you get this whole celebration of Dead or Alive called the Ultimate Remasters. So you get Dead or Alive 1 Ultimate, but you get Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate, which comes with more costumes, more improved models, more improved designs, and of course the same good old Dead or Alive 2 except with improved models, graphics, and designs, and more costumes from left and right. As well as if you have unlocked every single costume, whether it is going through the hard way or going through the survival mode, you get yourself a bunch of extra stuff like a gallery mode that has some stuff from Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, alongside a Dead or Alive 3 booster CD where you could just unlock costumes, all of the costumes, over to Dead or Alive 3. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, if you have cleared story mode as Ein with default settings, you have pretty much already known that you have unlocked Hitomi, which means Hitomi is added, especially with more costumes from left and right for Hitomi and outfits and etc. Because guess what? Because it is a hell of a huge remake slash remaster, well, Tecmo decided, well actually Team Ninja decided to slap in Hitomi from Dead or Alive 3 and add Hitomi into the Dead or Alive 2 roster, so that's a hell of a surprise. When it came to Dead or Alive 2, Dead or Alive 2 released with an arcade mode, a story mode, as well as your traditional versus and practice modes, of course, as well as adding in online play if you're on Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate. But, however, when it came to Dead or Alive 2's fighting arenas, rather than go with the ring outs, you have multiple sections of the fighting arena. So you're in one area of the map, and then you can knock one character off, you're just thrown into another section of the map. Plus, add in the destructive environments from left and right, and of course you get Dead or Alive gameplay more chaotic compared to the previous installment. Dead or Alive 2 also added in Ein, before he remembered that he was Hayate, added in Helena, and of course, essentially added in Leon. Now, throughout each edition of Dead or Alive 2, whether it being Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore, or Dead or Alive 2 Vanilla, or whatever regional version of Dead or Alive 2 you had your hands on, and of course Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate, There are some stages that carried over and some stages that got dropped off. But however, Dead or Alive 2 would go down as a big-time legendary fighting game, and of course, a big-time installment in the Dead or Alive franchise. Especially when it comes to Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate, with Aerosmith music included. Yeah, you're really surprised that Team Ninja are really big fans of Aerosmith. Now let's go ahead and move on to number 3, which is King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. Now, don't get me wrong, King of Fighters 2002 is essentially a dream match because, well, it's not canon, but it adds in everybody, especially everybody that didn't make the cut when it comes to any other King of Fighters title that has been canon in the franchise, in lore. However, vanilla KOF 2002 has been pretty much a big time and a huge favorite. But, however, I would rather go with King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match way more because, hell, it is just one hell of a way to do a remaster. Not only that, but, however, it does more than be a remaster. Adds in more detailed arenas to go through, adds in a shit ton more characters compared to the vanilla roster, and then, like, you have no idea what hit you. You have multiple final bosses to deal with, as well as some other shenanigans to go through. It's like with a shit ton of more things to do in KOF 2002 Unlimited Match compared to the vanilla version. However, KOF 2002 Unlimited Match was pretty much first released on PlayStation 2s before being brought over to the Xbox 360 marketplace and then brought on over to the PC via Steam. Oh yeah, and the game got ported to PlayStation 4. It's just like what Samurai Showdown 6 was. It was like except much bigger than Samurai Showdown 6. KOF 2002 is a hell of a party and a hell of a celebration of the King of Fighters franchise. Not only that, but a celebration of King of Fighters 2002, where basically a whole lot of other people have been invited. However, as a celebration of KOF 2002, as well as the franchise and how far it has been going, well, it's a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a deal. Like, KOF 2002 Unlimited Match is something I would go for more rather compared to Vanilla 2002, because KOF 2002 adds in just the more characters, adds in the more crazy stuff, and just adds in the more special stuff. It kind of feels, as a KOF fan, you just feel more special when it comes to 2002 Unlimited Match. And that what makes KOF 2002 Unlimited Match something we'd rather pick over than KOF 2002 Vanilla. Moving on over to number 2, which is Samurai Showdown 5 Special. Now, Samurai Showdown 5 Special is a huge improvement over Vanilla Samurai Showdown 5. Now, Samurai Showdown 5 Special adds in a ton more characters, brings it all back when it comes to Samurai Showdown. The insane shenanigans that involves the one-on-one sword clash dueling shenanigans. You have the blood coming back, the dismemberment coming back, the violence coming back, as well as something they went and did. They didn't have to, but they did anyway. They added in something that is known to be the overkill fatality moves that are like out of the blue. And of course, there's some very interesting hidden bosses from left and right, and it is just like adds in more arenas from left and right, improves the soundtrack, adds in a more interesting soundtrack worth listening to, especially when it adds in like a few badass tracks. And of course, like it is Samurai Showdown being good. Now, Samurai Showdown 6 has Iroha and more characters, but however, there's something about Samurai Showdown 5 Special that makes us kind of go all the way back to Samurai Showdown 5 Special. And yeah, Samurai Showdown 6 is very disappointing to some. But Samurai Showdown 5 Special just improves things and then brings it all back and then adds in some new things from left and right. And Guess what? It's Samurai Showdown being Samurai Showdown. Samurai Showdown 5 Special would remain as a rare as fuck Neo Geo title that I checked the eBay listings. We're talking about like around $1,000. However, on the bright side, the Humble Bundle came out with a huge Neo Geo anniversary bundle, including a copy of an emulated Samurai Showdown 5 Special, as well as come out with Samurai Showdown 5 Special with an enhanced version of Samurai Showdown 5 Special that would come equipped with the practice mode. And then there was Samurai Showdown 5 Special getting an Arcade Archives Neo Geo release. And then Samurai Showdown 5 Special would be included in the Samurai Showdown Neo Geo collection alongside vanilla Samurai Showdown 5 and, of course, Samurai Showdown 5 Perfect. However, when it came to Samurai Showdown 2019, well, when it came to the second season pass being added alongside Iroha, who came after who I'm about to mention, Mina Majikina from Samurai Showdown 5 fame had been added to Season Pass 2 when it came to Samurai Showdown 2019, before Iroha would release later as part of the Season Pass 2. Actually, as a matter of fact, Samurai Showdown 2019 seemed to be pretty much picking off where Samurai Showdown 5 left off. However, with that totally said, Samurai Showdown 5 Special is the big go-to of the Samurai Showdown franchise because it was a huge improvement over vanilla Samurai Showdown 5, but however, it adds in more details and it adds in the more of the Samurai Showdown that people know and love and have desire. And finally, let's head on over to number 1. Which is Garrow, Mark of the Wolves. And boy, oh boy, it is amazing when it comes to Garrow. First off, B. Janet. I love the hell out of B. Janet. I know there's more and more SNK fans that love B. Janet. I want to see more of B. Janet, and I'm pretty sure there's other people who want to see more of B. Janet. We have been clinging and hoping for B. Janet to appear in a later roster of King of Fighters. However, hopefully we can see B. Janet show up on King of Fighters 15. I hope. Please, bring B. Janet to KOF 15 for crying out loud. She is a hell of a fun character, and of course, a hell of a damn good waifu. Especially if you have a thing for, like, pirate girls. Oh, yeah. That would be perfect. I mean, come on. That's another reason. Like, you have the ninjas versus pirates. You have Mai Shiranui being pitted up against B. Janet. Hell yeah. But anyway, enough of me going down bad or thirsty with B. Janet. Let's talk about what else about Garrow Mark of the Wolves that just makes Garrow Mark of the Wolves a hell of a game. Now, first off, let's go ahead and talk about the hella crazy rock and roll soundtrack. Alright, hella catchy to listen to. Hella awesome to add in your fucking iPod. Okay, another thing I want to go ahead and say, the narrator just sounds so goddamn badass. And of course, there is some very interesting gameplay mechanics, such as the top system, where basically you just pick a portion of your HP, and basically when your HP gets lowered to the portion you selected, your character gets beefed up, and you do get more beefed up attack power. That's something crazy. And then, of course, you have the streamlined super, or the it's just like the max meter is just like 2 bars and you're pretty much good. Oh yeah, and also you have that wonderful just defended parry system that if you successfully parried, you just recover a few, you recover your HP. And of course, making the game challenging is a grading system that depends on how well you kick ass in each fight from left and right. And if you do good enough and get you a shit ton of AAAs and S ranks, you have the ability to, well, go 1-to-1 with the true final boss and find out the mystery behind it all throughout this whole Mighty Rule shenanigans. Oh yes, and of course the characters, especially B. Janet, Rock Howard, Gato, etc. The roster, it's just fun, interesting characters. They're just fun to play, and they're like pretty much interesting characters you want to see more of. Like, the characters in here are really good. Oh, and also, let's not forget, it is a beautiful, fluidly, well-animated game. Because guess what? Like, the animations in the fighting is just very, very fluid as hell. There's been more details and more additional frames considered when it comes to the character sprites, and it's just, you just get yourself a hell of a beautifully animated, out of the blue. It's like way more detailed animation compared to other fighting games. Seriously, Garrow Mark of the Wolves' animations are just insane, more detailed, and more fluid. So, of course, Garrow Mark of the Wolves got introduced to Neo Geo, then got brought over to the Dreamcast as Fatal Fury Mark of the Wolves for the US, and then the next thing you know, it later got remastered for Xbox Live, and then got brought on over to the PlayStation, brought on over to Android, and then brought on over to PC, and then brought on over to the Nintendo Switch. If you haven't played Garrow Mark of the Wolves, you definitely need to play this. It is just an amazing game, especially for its time, and hell yeah, it's a hell of a game worth checking out. And of course, that about does it for our wonderful list of defining fighting games. And yeah, it was a hell of a tough pick, but hey, it is what it is. With that totally said, that is all, and I will be looking forward to you in the next video. Peace out. This is nothing but a video product made by a fellow gamer man. Ayo!